The late afternoon sun dipped over the rusty rooftops of Lenga Township, casting long golden shadows across narrow alleyways. Children laughed in the dust, their bare feet thumping against the baked ground. But Saifo was not among them. He knelt beside a crumbling wall, his fingers stained with the remains of red and blue chalk, sketching a dream only he could see. At 13, Saifo already understood that dreams didn't grow easily here. His world was the tin roof shack he shared with his mother and baby sister, Ayanda. His father had vanished before he could remember, leaving behind only silence and bills no one could pay. Still, his mother called him her strong boy. She never said poor, only brave. He liked that. Saifo had a gift. He saw color where others saw rust. He would draw faces from memory on the sides of buildings, make animals run along the footpaths, and sketch birds on scraps of cardboard left behind in rubbish bins. When people walked past his drawings, some smiled, some muttered. But most just looked away. He didn't mind. He wasn't drawing for them. He was drawing for something bigger, something no one in Lenga could name. One day, as Saifo finished a sketch of a lion on the side of an abandoned bus, a tall figure cast a shadow over him. Saifo turned sharply, clutching his chalk, heart racing. "You did this?" the man asked, his voice deep, his accent smooth. Saifo nodded slowly. The man wore a worn blazer and a leather satchel. His eyes weren't angry, just curious. "I'm Mr. Daniels. I teach at Salt River High. Ever thought of painting on something that lasts?" Saifo blinked, unsure what to say. Mr. Daniels knelt beside him, examined the lion's face, and nodded. "You've got something rare, lad. Real fire. I could show you how to make it burn brighter." Saifo's stomach twisted. He didn't trust easy offers. Nothing in his world came without a cost. Still, when he got home that evening, his mother was coughing again, her body shaking as she tried to hide it with a smile. The tin kettle whistled weakly on the stove, barely enough water for tea. Ayanda tugged on his shirt, hungry. That night, Saifo lay awake, staring at the patchy roof, thinking about lions that didn't fade and colors that didn't wash away with the rain. The next day, he found himself outside Salt River High, watching as students poured through its blue gates. He had no uniform, no place there, but something inside him whispered, "Go in anyway." And he did. Saifo stood outside Salt River High's gate, hands in his pockets, watching students shuffle in. Their uniforms were pressed. Their shoes weren't broken. They had books and bags. He had chalk dust on his shirt and calluses on his hands. He didn't belong. Still, something inside pulled him forward. Maybe it was Mr. Daniels' voice echoing in his head, or maybe it was the way his mother looked smaller every morning. Whatever it was, it made Saifo push the gate open and step inside. The school secretary stopped him at once. "Name?" He hesitated. Then, Saifo Ndlovu. "You're not on the list. I came to see Mr. Daniels." Her brow furrowed. Before she could speak again, Mr. Daniels appeared, as if summoned. "It's all right, Mrs. Musa. He's with me." He placed a reassuring hand on Saifo's shoulder, then guided him through the corridor. Students whispered. Saifo kept his head down. Inside a small art studio, Mr. Daniels gestured to the blank canvas. "Paint whatever you want." Saifo blinked. "I don't know how to use these." "You'll learn. That's why you're here." So Saifo picked up a brush. It was heavier than chalk, the colors bolder. He painted quietly, slowly, heart pounding with every stroke. By the time the sun dipped low again, the canvas held the image of a girl, his sister, sitting beneath a jacaranda tree, petals falling around her like purple rain. Mr. Daniels stood beside him, silent for a long time. "You've never been taught?" Saifo shook his head. "You're a diamond, lad. We just need to polish you." But outside those walls, life sharpened its teeth. A group of older boys waited near the bus stop. One stepped forward. His name was Tabo. He grinned, but it wasn't kind. "You think you're better than us now? Painting with rich kids." Saifo didn't answer. Tabo shoved him hard. "Don't forget where you come from." Saifo walked away, fists clenched, heart bruised. He hadn't forgotten. He just wanted to build something better than what he came from. 2 weeks passed. Saifo returned to Salt River High every day after chores. He swept the studio to earn his time there. In exchange, Mr. Daniels taught him how to stretch canvas, how to blend acrylics, how to tell stories without words. At home, things got worse. His mother's cough deepened, her body thinner each night. Medication was a luxury. Food, a miracle. One evening, he returned from school to find neighbors outside their shack. Smoke curled from the doorway. His heart stopped. He ran inside. The fire had been small, started by a faulty plug, but the damage was heavy. Their mattress gone. The photos melted. His sketchbooks, ash. His mother sat outside, wrapped in a neighbor's blanket. Ayanda cried quietly. Saifo stared at what was left. The little they had was now even less. That night, he didn't sleep. He sat on a crate outside and began to draw in the dirt. No colors. No paper. Just broken lines and determination. At dawn, he walked back to Salt River. Mr. Daniels found him already painting. "You all right?"
No.
Mr. Daniels said nothing, just handed him a sandwich.
Eat.
Then paint. That's how we survive. Not everyone at Salt River welcomed Saifo. Some students rolled their eyes when he passed. One boy, Julian, called him charity case when teachers weren't looking. Saifo ignored him. He had no time for pride. He had goals now. But one afternoon, when Julian tipped over a water jug onto Saifo's new painting, something snapped. Saifo grabbed Julian's wrist mid-laugh. "Don't touch my work again." Julian shoved him. Saifo shoved back. A teacher separated them. Mr. Daniels was furious, not at Saifo for fighting, but for putting his future at risk. "You can't win with fists here," he warned. "You win with art, with fire, with something they can't destroy." But outside school, other forces waited. Tabo and his gang had started following Saifo again. At first, it was just teasing. Then it was threats. One evening, they cornered him behind a taxi rank. "You think you're better than us now?" Tabo growled. "You owe us." Saifo's lips split from the punch. But he didn't back down. "I don't owe anyone for trying to survive." They left him bruised, bleeding, but unbroken. He limped home, cleaned himself silently, and painted through the pain. A storm was brewing in every direction. But Saifo had decided. He would stand through it. Cape Town's streets had stories, if you knew where to look. Under the M5 bridge, Saifo painted a massive mural, his biggest yet. He used stolen time and borrowed paint, but the image was his, a lion, head high, walking through flames. People stopped, took pictures, asked his name. He didn't give it. It wasn't about fame. But one photo made its way online, then into a newspaper. That's when everything changed. Salt River High called him in. So did a gallery owner from Gardens. He wanted to meet. Saifo's knees shook as he stepped into the gallery, eyes wide. The walls were white, spotless. People whispered with accents he didn't recognize. "This is your work?" the owner asked, pointing to a printed image of the lion. "Yes. It has power, raw emotion. We'd like to commission a piece. Something large, something public." Saifo stared. "You'll be paid, of course."
Money.
For his art. For the first time, survival didn't feel so far. But as he walked home, his excitement faded. Outside his shack, Tabo waited again, this time with a knife. "You owe us now." Saifo's heart pounded. Choices were narrowing. The knife glinted in Tabo's hand beneath the streetlight. His eyes were cold, empty, like the night behind him. "You're making money now. You owe us a cut," he said. Saifo's voice was steady, though fear drummed in his chest. "I earned it." Tabo stepped closer. "And we protect you. That costs something." Saifo didn't move. He couldn't run. Behind Tabo, two other boys waited, arms crossed. There was no escape tonight. Then, a sound. A whistle, distant. Footsteps. A woman passed with a shopping bag, eyeing them. Tabo cursed and backed off. "This isn't over," he hissed. "Next time, there's no witness." Saipho walked the long way home, shaken. He sat beside Ayanda's bed, watching her sleep. He couldn't bring this violence home. The next day, he visited Mr. Daniels and told him everything. "Do you want to stop?" the teacher asked. Saipho shook his head. "I want to move." That afternoon, Mr. Daniels made calls. By evening, Saipho and his family were moved into a temporary shelter for women and children on the other side of the city. It was noisy, cramped, but safe. Saipho lay awake that night, staring at a blank ceiling. He had crossed a line. There was no turning back now. Weeks passed. Saipho painted like a man possessed. The gallery had commissioned a massive piece, 8 feet across, for an outdoor exhibition in the company's garden. It was a chance most artists waited years for. Every brushstroke carried the weight of everything he had seen: his mother's illness, the fire, the fists, the fear. Mr. Daniels guided him, but never interfered. "It must be yours," he said. "All of it." As the opening day approached, Saipho's nerves grew. He visited the exhibition space, a stretch of clean grass surrounded by white tents and sharp suits. He didn't fit. But then he saw it, his mural, standing tall, catching the sunlight. A lion, bold and unbroken, walking through ash towards the mountains. People gathered. Cameras flashed. His mother came, wrapped in her brightest shawl. Ayanda ran in circles nearby, laughing. Mr. Daniels handed him a jacket. "You're the artist now. Go greet your crowd." But as Saipho stepped forward, he spotted someone in the back. Tabo. Not smiling. Just watching. Saipho froze. He had escaped once. Could he stay free? Tabo didn't approach that day, but his presence lingered. Saipho began seeing him more, on trains, near the shelter, leaning against walls with that same empty stare. The fear returned. Saipho tried to focus. The gallery offered another job, designing a mural at a school in Kailicha. He accepted. But even in the bright halls of that school, shadows followed. Then, one afternoon, he returned to the shelter to find the lock broken. Inside, their belongings had been tossed. His mother's bag was missing. So was a sketch pad he kept hidden, filled with ideas for future work. The shelter coordinator called the police, but nothing came of it. That night, Saipho sat alone in the courtyard. Mr. Daniels arrived with food, but Saipho didn't touch it. "What if I can't outrun him?" "You don't outrun ghosts, Saipho. You replace them with something stronger." Saipho nodded, silently. Then he stood, walked inside, and began sketching again, this time on the back of an old cupboard door. A face emerged, his own. Older, stronger, unafraid. Saipho's second mural drew even more attention than the first. This time it wasn't just the media. A representative from a youth art program in Johannesburg contacted the gallery. They wanted Saipho to apply. All expenses paid. It was an escape, a new start. But his mother was weaker now. The coughing came with blood. She refused to be hospitalized, insisted on staying with Ayanda. "You go," she told him. "You were never meant to stay still." Saipho hesitated. Then, one night, as he painted a small boy on a school wall, he noticed something. A child inside the building, watching from a window, eyes wide, silent. Saipho walked over after, knocked softly. The boy's name was Malali. He hadn't spoken in weeks, his teacher said. Trauma's too deep for words. The next day, Saipho returned, not with paint, but paper and pencils. He sat with Malali in the sun, and they drew together. Slowly, the boy smiled, then whispered, "Lion." Saipho froze. That one word was everything. In that moment, he knew his art wasn't just escape. It was healing. The train to Johannesburg left just before sunrise. Saipho stood on the platform with his mother, Ayanda in her arms, Mr. Daniels at his side. He wore second-hand boots, a stitched backpack, and a heart full of fire. His mother held his face in her hands. "You're my lion, Saipho. No matter where you go." He nodded, eyes stinging. Then boarded the train. As it pulled away, Cape Town faded behind him. He didn't know what waited ahead, only that he would keep walking. through the ash, through the fear, through every wall they built, because he had learned one thing above all else. Never give up.